I think for most new writers, rewriting is just proofreading or starting again from scratch. Let me try to help. First of all, let me just sell you on the basic idea of rewriting by pointing out it takes the pressure off. Experienced writers know it's okay to just do the best you can right now because, and this is the main thing I want to convey in this video, rewriting is not an extra step you do after writing, it is part of writing. When you finish a first draft, you don't just then march through the text correcting it, you're still writing it, often discovering whole new aspects and layers. Most writers I know don't even feel they fully understand their own project until they finished the first draft and started rewriting it. Now, there is no one way to rewrite. Every writer has to figure out their own process that fits them. So, if your way of working is working, do that. These are just some tools and approaches you can try if it's not working. My first step is just read through it. Ideally, you don't stop, but I think most people can't help marking it up a little or jotting down some notes. But do try to get the flow, the story experience. Now, it is hard to read your own writing. Not just because you're emotionally fragile, though that is a real thing, but because you honestly can't see it. There's some weird perceptual malfunction. It's too familiar. You know what you intended. The reasoning that you used is still in your head. So often you need to kind of trick yourself, the way that painters will sometimes look at their own work in a mirror so that they'll change their perception of it. Do anything you can to look at your work with fresh eyes. Print it, or read it on a different device, or change the font, or have other people read it out loud for you. Then, don't just start fixing it. Stop and think about the story, the characters, the structure, the style, the vision. How much of what you thought you were doing is there in this thing you just read? Get to know that thing now, because it is a thing. It's not what it was supposed to be. It's not what you wanted it to be. Try to see what it is, because there is no finished work out there somewhere waiting for you to get to it. There's just the best version of what it actually is. Creative work changes as you work on it. It's supposed to. Part of creating something is discovering what it is. You're trying to figure out what you like in what you've got. And you can't do that if you keep throwing it out and starting over again. You also can't do that if all you're doing is looking for what's wrong, which is why this is really, really important. Work from what's good. Yes, some of it will be awful, but somewhere in all that you will have something unique or smart or emotional, something you like. Learn to look for what you've done that's even just nearly good. Use that to anchor you and steer by. And yes, I know anchor and steer are conflicting metaphors, but they're both true. Okay, now, with that attitude, don't just start back on page 1 and grind through it line by line. Use the outline as a workspace and a things to do list. A place to talk to yourself, to figure things out, to note anything you need to do. The outline is not just a step you pass through, it's an ongoing way to work. Get used to moving back and forth between the outline and the text. It's just two ways of thinking, and you never stop using either one. Now, in order to do this, here's a bit of nuts and bolts practical habit to get into. Make a copy of the outline, save the old one somewhere, and then go through the script again, scene by scene, and just change the outline to match it. Then, after your outline is all caught up, go through the script again. Make scene by scene notes. There's no real point correcting the words in a scene that doesn't work. Sure, if you see a line you want to fix it. But the most important thing to get a grip on is the story and the characters. I want to make an argument here for writing your notes in the outline, not in your script. Different people are different, and sometimes, yes, it makes sense to cross out some words or draw little arrows. But when you want to step back and think, work stuff out, try out new ideas, you want some expandable room on the page, still in the form of scenes, but you want space too. Ask yourself questions. What is the point of this scene? Who is doing what? What do they want? What is the action? What is the change or news or development? Or even just, why did I write that this way? A lot of what you're doing here is really just asking yourself what each scene is about. Often, a scene doesn't work because it's just about too much or not enough. So break the work down into small tasks. Just work on one scene at a time. And if you can't figure out how to fix something, move on. Work on everything else. You'll get back to it. You'll get it. You don't do this all at once. Just fix the bits you can fix. Learn to accept what professionals know from experience. Everything you write can be done many different ways. So try stuff out. See what it's like if you do it a different way. That's what rewriting is. The feeling that you're trying to get it right is inaccurate and harmful. You are deciding what you want and then making it work the way you are choosing to go. Another way to think about rewriting is the concept of passes. Every time you go through the script and change things, it's a pass. Not like I'm passing, it's turning it down. I mean like I'm passing through it. In each pass, you can apply yourself to a different element. It actually gets unhelpful to just go over it and over it with the same focus and frame of mind. Instead, say to yourself, this time through I'm going to focus on the dialogue or the scene descriptions or the action scenes. This is particularly useful if you do character passes. I talk about this a little in my video, Building Character Arcs. The idea is that you go through it and you just focus on one character and you say, what's their experience through this story? What are they doing in each scene? What do they want? And here are just some other basic rewriting principles. Creativity is constructive. Examine every negative note or thought and figure out the constructive step it gives you. Stay specific and concrete. Try to get down to the nuts and bolts, nitty-gritty, piece by piece of it. Too long or too short, too on the nose, not bold enough, not enough detail, gives away too much. There's a cliche, kill your darlings, and a lot of people think that means if you like something, you should kill it. That is a ridiculous misunderstanding of the phrase. What it actually means is if you have a good reason to take something out, even though you love it, let it go. That can be hard. Let yourself feel it. Mourn your losses. But if you're sure you have a good reason, if something conflicts with or distracts from what's good, or it just isn't as good, yeah, cut it. While we're on the subject of destructive misunderstandings, rewrites can sometimes make you feel like crap. Don't use rewrites as a way to judge yourself. You are judging the work, not your talent or future. Okay, each time you go through it, the list of things you want to change is going to start to get smaller and smaller, and pretty soon you're just polishing. And you'll get to the point where it may not be perfect, but it's a thing. Someone can read it. The novelist and screenwriter Walter Mosley put it perfectly. It's done when you know that everything you need to fix you can't fix yet. Ideally, you're thinking kinda, it's pretty good. You'll never stop thinking maybe you should work on it more, but show it to people. See what they get and what they don't. And then you'll probably rewrite it again. That's the main thing to learn about rewriting. It's part of the process. Enjoy the process. Go rewrite something. If you like this video and subscribe to this channel. Leave me comments, ask me questions in the comments section of this video, or go to writingforscreens.com. Okay, now, with that attitude, don't just go bag-a-boo-ba-boo-ba-ba. In the we have because I said the wrong words. You're still writing. Yeah, that was actually the right words. I just didn't trust it. Hey, testing, looking, testing, being me. Hey.